So for this video, I'm going to be going through the build process on a custom cone assembly for a ZVX, a Skar ZVX 15 dual 1 ohm, ZVX, ZVX, whatever you want to call it. So let's take a look at that. Thanks for checking out my video. First thing I need to do is separate the surround from the basket. I'm going to need to get a new terminal because one of the terminals is lost or broken or something happened to it. And then I'll have to do new spiders, or maybe not. I don't know if I'll have to replace the spiders or not, but we'll see how it comes apart. So I've just finished separating the surround from the basket. I think the next thing I'll do before disconnecting the spider from the basket is pull off the dust cap, because it's going to be easier to get off while it's sitting in the sub. So sadly, I was not able to remove the dust cap intact. These cardboard dust caps are kind of crap and very difficult to get off in one piece. The next thing we're moving on to is pulling out all of these spider bolts here. They look like M4 hex head. So once we get that off, we'll pull the cone assembly out. Also pulling all of the remaining push terminals. I do have only 3 of the 8 gauge terminals, so I'm gonna have to try to get 2 or 4 new terminals to put on the sub so that they're matching, or at least have terminals to go where these ones came off. So that's where we're at. So once I got the ring unbolted, the spider removed from the basket seat with a little bit of heat, and should just be popping out pretty easily now. Huh. That is your ZVX V1 dual 1 ohm cone assembly. That's your basket and motor. So now that I've got the ZVX completely broken down and all the hardware removed, the cone assembly and everything out of the sub, I have ordered a new cone and a new voice coil, new spiders, etc. But realized that the particular cone that I ordered is a little over half an inch shorter than this one. This cone is a 4-inch cone off the OEM V1, ZVX V1, 15 V1. But the new cone I ordered is 3.365 inches tall, which means that I have a little bit over a half an inch from the spider seat here to the bottom of the cone. So that provides me with an opportunity to put a spider spacer in there. Obviously the sub has the clamp ring to go on top of the spider, but now because I can put a spacer in here, I'm going to print spacers. They're going to unfortunately be 4-piece spacers because my printer can't print quite that big. This is a 10-inch outside diameter. My printer will only do 8 inches. So unfortunately, I have to print it in 4 pieces. There will be 2 holes per piece, and they will interlock much like Lego pieces and be glued, so nothing will be rattling around or moving. Plus, it'll be clamped under this ring. But anyway, like I say, I'm going to print a 12 millimeter spacer to go in between the spiders, so I can do an inverted on the bottom and then a regular on the top, and then put the clamp ring on top of it. So it gives the voice coil a bit more stability. I got lots of time to print this thing out because, or these things, I'm printing them one at a time. Print these things out because I'm waiting on shipping right now. So once the parts arrive, everything will be ready to go, and I'll just be able to throw the sub together. I just pulled this, I mean not just, I've already sanded it a bit, but I just pulled this 3D printed 12mm spacer off the printer. Like I said, there'll be 4 pieces, so I'm just getting ready to start the next one. They will interlock. You can see there's that end. We'll interlock with that end. And just sort of our first preliminary test fit. The shape looks very good. I did a hole alignment check. So hold on a second, that's my left hand, which is useless. Where are we here? There it is. That's that one. Fits nicely. Holes line up nicely, so we'll be able to throw these in between the sets of spiders. There's one, and this guy. So, looks pretty good. Looks really good. Not pretty good, it looks really, really good. Been a while since I looked at this sub. It's been sitting on my bench. The only thing sort of preventing me from finishing it is putting tinsel leads onto these spiders. I just wanted to say thank you to Eric from EC Designs in California. He sent these to me when I couldn't get them, so I very much appreciate that. And I want to give another shout out to Nate, who I've talked to about speakers and speaker building many times. And once upon a time in a conversation he mentioned something about using a one of the lower seats as well as one of the upper seats. So technically the 2 additional spiders are sitting on a lower seat. Then I'm running the spacer, giving you, as you can see there, just about an inch between the upper spiders, which are a larger size. I believe these are 10-inch or something like that, and the lower ones are 9. I'm not 100% sure, but they're a different size. And that way I get a larger separation between the layers of spiders, of the 2 sets of spiders, so that we improve voice coil stability at high excursion, which I'm hoping to accomplish with this sub. So that being said, the next thing I'm going to do is put some leads on this spider, the 2 stacked spiders. Should probably glue them together first, and then we will go from there with So I finished stitching my tinsel leads. So now I've got the lower spider glued into place to the voice coil. I've got to build up a little bit more adhesive on here before I put the upper spider on. So one thing I forgot to mention is that because of the bolts going through here, the spider will need to have some material removed in order to fit around. Let's get that on there. Fit around those bolts. Of course, it won't be like that, and technically it only needs to be as big as the 4M. So what I did was just mark where all the screws are on the spider with some white felt marker. So I will take the, like I said, Dremel bit and just notch those out a bit. So there it is. They actually are quite a bit rounder than they look. Unfortunately, the fraying and burr makes each notch look quite terrible, but turned out very well. So the next thing to do is going to be to glue the upper spider to the voice coil. Once that's glued in place, I'm going to have to pull the whole assembly out and then glue the upper spider from underneath so that there's glue underneath this as well. And then we will glue the leads where they need to be before we solder them. But before I do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bolt the spacer ring to the basket so it's in the position it's going to be when we actually do the drop-in. That way we're gluing it in place as it will be assembled to run. So now that my leads are soldered and glued in place just so they don't move at all, the next thing I'm going to do is glue the cone on. So there's going to have to be some cutting done around these guys here so it'll fit over them, and then I'll just fill that with epoxy and CA glue to create a dam and then flood it with epoxy. High temperature epoxy to attach the cone to the upper portion. It's going to be tight because we're going to be sitting basically with about a 1/4 inch of voice coil into the cone. It'll be fine. So now I've glued the cone assembly into the basket. I've put the terminals on. These are, I think, 4-gauge terminals. Connected the leads to them. Everything's glued in place. I've still got the shims in. I always like to leave those until it's been curing for 24 hours. I know it's going to be very difficult for it to move, but I'd rather be on the safe side. Now, one of the things I'm debating with this sub is whether I'm going to put a primary and a secondary cap in. This is just a cheap 3-inch cap. The problem with this is not a proper speaker one, and I'm worried that the flexibility of this is maybe a little bit too much, so I might need to reinforce it. So now that the glue has been curing for 24 hours, it's time for us to pull the shims out. I have in the past pulled shims out and had the voice coil start rubbing because I didn't set them using the steps I do now, but I would not expect anything like that in this case because we have no pressure whatsoever on our shims. They're now out. So the next thing is going to be to determine whether we're going to put the cap in. I know it fits in there very nicely. Let's take a look at that if we can. Sorry, a bit jerky here. Let's take a quick look what that looks like. It's just basically a plug for the voice coil, even if I'm just leaving it in there temporarily to keep debris from falling in there before I put the dust cap. That's fine too, but we definitely don't have any rub. I'll pull off the clamps tonight when it's been full 24 hours. So basically the sub is finished. What you have here is a primary dust cap, which is basically just a plug in the voice coil. It takes some of the pressure, or all of the pressure essentially, off of the secondary dust cap. Not that it's necessary, but I don't know. Alrighty, now we wait. So this has been sitting for 24 hours. We've now got a complete sub here. That is done. So now the only thing left to do is run some frequency sweeps, maybe do an ohm reading on the voice coils, and then install it or sell it. I'm not sure yet, but we'll get right to the testing now. So I've got this just running off my cell phone, a small app. It's very crude, but it's good for doing frequency sweeps and testing like that. So we're gonna start with a, let's do 15 hertz. Turn the volume right down, let's see what happens there. Well, it needs a little bit more volume than that, I guess. Well, now that my whole bench is shaking, that's nice. It's even causing the tripod to shake that's on the ground. Just add a couple hertz slowly, because it can get quite intense rather quickly. Okay, so that's 25 hertz. We're gonna leave it at that just because it's shaking my bench quite a bit. No rubbing, no coil noise. Nothing's loose in there, which I wouldn't expect it to be. Of course, bench is rattling like crazy. Everything on here, but it is working good. So we'll call that a successful build, and that solve it. So that wraps up the ZVX Skar 15-inch custom cone assembly. Everything worked out very well. The next step is going to be to try to get it into my car. I have a cab 45 to run it on, but unfortunately this is a dual 1 ohm, so my choices are either to run it at 2 ohms and get 2700 RMS, or run it at 0.5 and risk cooking the amp, which is not really ideal. I know Boxrise will likely take care of it self and not put the amp at significant risk, but I don't typically like to run my amps below their rated impedance. So anyway, thanks for checking out this video. Hopefully you'll check out my other videos. I know they've been few and far between lately. I'll try to pick that up. I have been busy launching the GSA Industries website, so if you want to check that out, gsaindustries.ca. Got lots of apparel on there right now, and we're starting to add products as we go. So anyway, hit that up. I'm always thankful for your support. Like, share, and if you're really feeling generous, hit that subscribe button. Thanks again.